The biggest downside when I think about the negative narrative is really about the new generation. Hugely creative, but the problem is that they've been fed on a diet of our negativity. The biggest downside when I think about the negative narrative is really about the new generation. It's such an amazing generation. I work with them every day in my role, hugely creative, totally fearless, global perspective. So amazing generation. But the problem is that they've been fed on a diet of our negativity for too long, and it's beginning, and I think it's affecting them, and that's why you see them not wanting to come back. We grew up together in Nigerian universities. We went to school here. We met our wives in the universities or met our husbands in the universities. I mean, the elites send their kids to public secondary school, send their kids to public universities. And for that reason, we have a lot more attachment to this country than the new generation. Because now we've sent them all around the world. Not changing the narrative we sell to them, I think, is doing them a disservice. Because we're robbing them of the opportunity that this market provides. I'm always, as someone who's spent a long time outside of Nigeria, now coming back, I'm always amazed because it's able to then contrast what you've been used to what you see in Nigeria. I'm always amazed by the negative narrative that Nigerians seem to be in love with. Everybody's trying to outdo the next person, telling a more dire story about not just our current reality, but our outlook. And I think that's so unfortunate. Yes, we have challenges, like most developing countries do, but we have such huge potential. And I think my biggest worry is that the way we see ourselves might actually impact on our potential, not so much the reality of what we're experiencing. So I think we have an opportunity to change our narrative. We have an opportunity to love our country. What I find amazing is if you go to Kenya, they have the same issues we have. They are not oblivious of how important these issues are and the need to solve them, but they love their country. They wear belts in the colors of their country. They wear handbands. And they can talk about the problems that they're having and be very passionate about those problems, but it never extends to they casting an outlook for their country that is negative. They never do that. I find that is not true here, and that's a huge opportunity we have as Nigerians. I think we just got to give people awareness about it. I've had many people tell me, "Oh, Kelvin, you can't come with this good narrative about Nigeria because people are going to shut you down," and so on. Yet there have been people who have shut me down, but so also I've found people who have won over to thinking differently. They're beginning to say, well, to be honest, maybe it's not so bad, Kelvin. Maybe there's a lot to be grateful for, and then they begin to share stories like, oh yes, even when I traveled for summer, I meant to stay for 2 weeks, but to be honest, after a week, I wanted to come home, and things like that. So we're giving people license to love their country and to be known to love their country. It's not a bad thing to do that. It's an amazing country. I could live in any part of the world that I choose. And I say that with all humility. But I chose to be home. I know the traffic can be mind-boggling. I know, power can be an issue and all that. And I deal with all these realities like everyone else. But I still love my country in spite of that.